In this video, I will go over the story of the Mercedes CLS and how it shaped a generation of luxury cars. The concept for the CLS was initially sketched by American designer Michael Fink at the Mercedes Design Studio in 2001. The CLS drawings had almost cartoonishly small windows and big wheels, but the idea was clear. Bring 4 doors to a car with a coupe or coupe profile with a fastback slope to the rear. This idea was nothing new. Plenty of cars from the 1960s had something like this, and the idea re-emerged regularly in the 1990s through concept cars such as the Porsche 989 and the Bugatti EB112. But concept cars are one thing. Bringing something to production is the real challenge. The Mercedes board was intrigued by the CLS and patents were filed in 2002, while plans for production were already being put in place based on the W211 E-Class platform. The Vision CLS concept was displayed at the 2003 Frankfurt Auto Show, and the reception was very warm. So warm, in fact, that Mercedes quickly gave the green light to begin building the cars. Having a plan for production early on and platform sharing with the W211 made the CLS set for success, especially at the time when concept cars were common, but also never followed through with and not sold to the public. The time from concept to production was very short, and the car was mostly unchanged other than a few small things. The main difference to note is that the concept car featured a glass roof panel, while the production model only had a standard sunroof available. Pre-production of the final cars began in December of 2003. Mercedes presented the new CLS Class Coupe in the spring of 2004, and orders began flooding in. The final series production began in August that year. A key design feature was the crease on the side of the car that ran all the way from the front wheel arch to the taillights, and it was retained from the sketches all the way through to final production. Fink and his design team wanted to give the CLS as much of a coupe profile as possible. The C-pillar was stretched and flattened. The trunk sloped downwards at nearly the same angle as the rear window. Compared to the E-Class the CLS is based on, the roof was chopped by 3 inches, while the car was longer and significantly wider, including wider wheels and tires. Like previous Mercedes coupes, the side windows were frameless. And never before was there a Mercedes with 4 doors to feature the sports star grille rather than the upright hood ornament and classic radiator grille. The design of the headlights showed the future of Mercedes moving away from the round headlights of the early 2000s. The bold design continued inside the car. The dashboard has this slab of handcrafted raw walnut wood with a satin finish. Alternatively, the dark laurel wood trim was available as an extra. Chrome trim pieces and good materials showed you that this was no ordinary E-Class. Comfortable seats with nice leather were used throughout. Critics loved the CLS at launch. Famously, Jeremy Clarkson of Top Gear called the CLS
It's a phenomenal car,
which was in stark contrast to his review of the E-Class.
I'm not a fan of the E-Class styling, it looks like a Honda.
The launch of the car included a 350 model V6 and the 500 with the M113 V8 with 302 horsepower. Diesel models followed in Europe, such as the OM642-powered 320 CDI. The CLS hit the North American market in 2005, being sold as a 2006 model. AMG's first model was the CLS 55 with the M113K supercharged V8. The AMG styling greatly improved the looks in my opinion, as the front and rear bumpers were much lower to the ground. Updates for the CLS arrived quickly in late 2006 for the 2007 model year. This included a new M273 V8 engine with 382 horsepower in the new 550 model for North America, but it was still called 500 in Europe. Replacing the 55 was the 63 model with the M156 engine and 507 horsepower. The facelift came along in late 2008 for the 2009 model year with some minor changes such as a new front grille, tail lights, new steering wheels, and new wheel designs. The CLS quietly ended production in the summer of 2010, with the last car leaving the Sindelfingen factory on July 27th. Indeed, the original CLS's impact over the past 20 years since its launch has been significant. There have been countless four-door coupes from rival makes, including Audi's A7 and BMW's 6 Series Grand Coupe, which were direct responses to the success of the CLS. The first generation CLS totaled about 170,000 units produced. If we go by model, there were 32,064 units of the CLS 500 with the M113. There were 37,501 units estimated to be made of the CLS 350, that's with the M272. Popular in Europe with 48,706 units made is the CLS 320/350 CDI. 26,471 units of the CLS 550/500 with the M273 were made. Late on, there was the CLS 280/300 with a smaller M272 V6 with just 6,559 units. And finally, 7,267 units of the CLS 350 CGI with that M272 direct injection engine. Now moving on to the AMG models, there were 6,586 units of the CLS 55 AMG, and the rarest of all the CLS was the 63 with 4,846 cars made in total. So, what should you look out for when buying a CLS? The M113 in the 500 is a simple and reliable engine, while the M273 in the 550 is a bit more complicated, but still solid and much more powerful. There was an issue with the idler sprocket on earlier models, which was said to be fixed after engine number 88611. The M272 V6 options are fine, really, other than the early balance shaft issues which were corrected after engine 468993. And you can look up engine numbers by the VIN number. The AMG lineup is excellent with two legendary engines, and it's really hard to pick between the 55 and 63 for me, and I've covered that comparison in previous videos. If the vehicle is equipped with the airmatic suspension, of course it can start to leak after some mileage, but there are good replacement options out there that are not too expensive. The SBC braking system, which was brake-by-wire, is another thing to watch out for, as the pump can go out with some mileage and compromise the brakes, which is a safety item, which means it is warranted at least in the US for 25 years. Fortunately, they got rid of this system for the 2007 and newer models. At the end of the day, the CLS is based on the W211, which is a pretty reliable and reasonable to maintain platform. But as these cars are getting to about 20 years old, you'll have to expect some upkeep, and the key is to spend that bit more at the start and get the most original, low mileage example you can find, and it'll take better care of you. The market for the CLS is extremely varied. On the lower end, you can get the dependable 500 for only like 10 to 12K for a really nice example, and it still looks great with the sports styling package. A good 55 or 63 will set you back 20 to 25K. And at the high end, collectors will only really care about a 55 or 63 with extremely low miles and like new condition. And this is because it's so rare to find them left like this today. And as we've seen recently, they can trade for some big numbers. Since the 219 generation, 2 generations have followed, which continued with the same philosophy. And while the CLS has become discontinued as a model, the 4-door GT continues the legacy of the CLS today. With its distinctive profile, the Mercedes CLS fired up an automotive industry trend towards more sporting 4-door cars that blur the line between coupe and sedan. Mercedes proclaimed it as the world's first 4-door coupe, a debatable claim that was part of our marketing strategy, but nonetheless it was a huge success. Anyways, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. If you want to support the channel, take a look at my store. Link is in the description. If you want to see more Mercedes and AMG content, subscribe for more videos like this one.